Alright, so if you're watching this video, you are trying to learn how to present nuadu. I just created this to for you to understand how I present it, and you can change it however you want. So before I start, I always place nuadu correctly, right? Uh, the most famous e-learning platforms out there are mainly LMSs, and LMSs mainly handle the admin side of a classroom. That means the enrollment of students and the registration and the payment gateway and things like that. Nuadu is not about the admin side. Some of the LMSs like Moodle and Schoology and LearnDash, they go a bit into the learning with question banks and being able to tag the questions and being able to assign quizzes. But it stops there, right? A Google Classroom too, you're able to assign quizzes, but it stops there. Maybe you get a bit of data as to how the students performed in the relevant in the quizzes, but that's it. Now for Nuadu, that's where the magic actually starts, because you assign the students quizzes, you are able to collect very deep and data, and then you are able to diagnose the problem and you're able to solve the problem. So that is where we place nuadu. It's purely an assessment platform that is designed for learning to happen and not for the admin side of the education. Yeah. So over here right now, what you see is the teacher dashboard. This is what you would see as what when a teacher logs in, right? So usually you would see that there would be some percentages over here. So for the purpose of this, let's just assume that this, 72% and stuff like that. So again, I'll be explaining, right? So this is one tile here. That means this is an assignment that a teacher actually gave out to the students. And you can see in every tile, you can see the average score for the class. You can see the grade distribution for the whole class. You can see how many of your students opened it, completed it, and how many of your students did not even complete it at all. Yeah, you're able to go into show results, and this is where you're able to see in-depth analysis of the questions and based for your class. So again, average score for this question, how your students performed as a distribution. You're able to add comment, and you're able to um, give it you're able to type out something to them, because of course you need to give feedback to the students. You are able to put in predefined options. So these are things like, you're very careless, please check your work next time, things like that. You can add it, you can add your own ones, and you can also do voice notes, right? Makes it very easy, very effectively. You can give comments to your whole class. Now the biggest problem here is that is being solved is that usually when you give uh, comments to your students, I mean, it's 1 year in, 1 year out, because they're students. They're not designed to actually listen to all your advice. Right now, with this, all the comments that you are giving to them is all recorded. So I mean, if you are telling a student in a period of 2 months, you're telling them that, hey, careless, careless, careless. Now it's very obvious that the student is making careless mistakes. So it has a greater strength in that sense. You are also able then to go in deeper into one student, right? So right now I'm looking at Burke, right? I'm able to see how did Burke do. Initially, what we were doing just now is for the whole class. Now it's for Burke, and again, same thing. I'm able to give him a personalized comment over here. Yeah, and you just scroll, you can see the whole thing. So that is your analysis, your data from this one assignment tab. Now over here, you will see your classes. Now, as a teacher, you will only see the subjects that you teach, and the classes that appear here will also be only the classes that you teach. You will not see all the classes in the school, just to, of course, make sure that you're not being confused. Now, what is going on here is that you see the grades, right? Right now, you see everything that is in red, again, because this is demo data. But again, in a regular classroom, you could have as low as 20% and as high as like 90 or 100%, right? Now, what is this designed for actually is that to move your students from green to black, right? Like in taekwondo, black is the highest. So you want to move your students from green to black, and based on that, you kind of group your students. So 17% is like the highest group over here. Or maybe below 25%, and everyone is under green, right? But let's just say there was proper distribution, and some of your students, this student maybe was at 70%, you move him to black, right? So I'll just do some simple grouping right now, and I'll show you how it's being used later on. Right now, of course, it's being done manually. We are working on it being done automatically, so that you don't need to bother too much about it, right? So now I'll close this part, and this is the knowledge base. I'll be explaining that to you later, and yeah, that's it for this one section. All right, so now we're moving into a different aspect. So I'll be showing you exactly how a teacher can assign an assignment or an exercise set or something. So by clicking on this arrow, you see that there are three options: exercise set, which is basically an assignment or like a worksheet, and then you have got quiz, which is okay, an assignment or an exercise set has got a deadline, but it doesn't have a duration. So for example, the kids have to finish the assignment by Friday 2 p.m., but they can take 2 hours or they can take 20 minutes to finish it. It doesn't really matter. So they can start the quiz, the assignment, go and play, come back, and then they can continue it. The quiz, however, has a duration and a deadline. So, for example, Tuesday 2 p.m., but when you start it, you, for example, have 20 minutes to complete it. And an exam is just a bit more stringent. Yeah. So let's go ahead and assign an exercise set. You again, you choose your subject. Again, you only see as a teacher subjects that you are teaching, right? And then of course this area is usually you don't see this, so I'll just go into Marshall Cavendish. This is the grade level. This is like primary what, or what grade is the child in, and then this is the chapter. For example, area and perimeter. Again, this is demo data, but usually there'll be more than one chapters over here, and you are able to select more than one chapters. Yep. And then I'm going to select all, and then go on to next. Now here I choose the class I want to assign this to, and the grouping that we did earlier appears here. Now you can do this however you want, right? You want to only give this to the students who are doing too well, or you only want to give this to the students who are not doing too well, or you want to give it to everyone, or maybe you even want to give it to students who did not come to class last Tuesday, for example, maybe these four of them. So you can really play with this and do whatever you want with this. And then we go on to next. Now this is where you are now choosing the questions. In nuadu, exercises means questions, yeah. So right now, again, demo data, so there's only 27 and 1, but usually there will be a lot more questions, and there will be another tab here for the difficult questions. So you want to take it easy, you can just select some maybe 4, and you randomize it, and the system chooses 4 questions that you can give based on the pre-selection that you made earlier. Now you don't like something, deselect it, go into more exercises. You like something else, select this, maybe select this, and you're happy with it, you go on to next. Now here you are of course looking through and making sure everything is good, looking through the whole thing. There are times, like for example here. Now this question has got variants. Variant is basically the same type of question but different numbers. For example, a variant of 1 plus 1 is 2 plus 2, right? So that you give your students to practice the same concept but different numbers, so that of course they get familiar with the concept. Now if you think your class is very good at this, so you decrease one variant and it will become 3, right, as you can see here. And maybe Erica, you know that Erica is in green, right? So she's not very good at it, so you want to give her in fact one more variant than everyone else. You can add it, and this is specifically for Erica. She has 4 variants: 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and all good. Then you just scroll down and you assign it for tomorrow or for whenever. Assign, and the system will then bring it back to the front screen. You just created this assignment in a matter of few minutes. Yeah, so that is how you create and assign an assignment in nuadu. Very, very easily done. Yeah, in the next video I'll be going on to the progress tab. Now we will go into the progress tab that you see over here to really to learn what is the kind of data that you can get as a teacher. Yeah, so this is your filtering system. Yeah, which subject, which class and grade, which period you want it to be, and then you generate. I'm just going to leave that over here under activities. These are your students, and these are all the activities that you kind of assigned to your students. Yeah, you see all 0% right now because it was all demo data, but just look at these last 2 rows over here. Right, this is where you see a lot of the data. And basically if your students have been using nuadu for the last like 2 years, we are able to pull up 2 years of assignments that was given out to your students. Now how why is it very important, right? We know as teachers that if even if it's 2 weeks old and you give your student a worksheet and you ask them for that worksheet back, there's a very very high chance that 10 to 20% of your students will not be able to provide that, right? Or you will not be able to kind of see to compare the improvement of your students in their assignments in very very effectively. Right now it's all here, it's all staring you in your face, it's so easy to compare and to see the progress of a child. Moreover, just by clicking on one of the numbers, you are then able to go into that assignment for that particular student and see how that student did. And you are able to again add the comment and the same old features and close it, and you are able to look at that particular assignment for the whole class. Yeah. So very quickly you are able to able to go back to the assignment which was like weeks, months, even years ago. So that's under the activities tab, where you get the data for the past assignments or quizzes that were assigned to your students. Under the topics tab is where you are able to see the level of mastery per topic and subtopic. Yeah, this is where, of course, it will be mapped to your curriculum, to the curriculum that the school has. We will be mapped by us before the school even starts using nuadu. So over here, this there are three chapters, and here there are three sub chapters. Yeah, you see, click on equations and changes, fraction and changes, geometry and it changes. Yeah, so let's just stay in equations. And again, you see 5%, 0% because it's demo data. But let's just think that this is maybe 95% and this is like 90% and this is 16%. So you know that for equations, it's your kids are not doing very, very well, right? So uh, these two icons are very, very important. This is the group icon and this is the training icon. The group icon, when you click on it, it'll bring you to a summary of how your individual students, the mastery of your individual students in this subtopic. I'm going to sort it from the lowest, that means the lowest students are on top, and I'm going to then select my weakest student for this subtopic, and I'm going to send them out for training. And now what the system has already done is that it has pre-selected the questions that you should be giving to your students to help them improve in this one particular subtopic. So I want to maybe give 2 questions here and 4 questions here. I do not want to give difficult because my students are really, really weak at it, right? And then I'll randomize. So right now, of course, all the selects, because there are 2 easy and 4 medium, so all the questions in that category will be selected. And then I click on next, and the same process of assigning an assignment continues, right? You are able to add your variants, and the whole thing continues. I will not do that here right now. I will continue with the progress tab and go in. So you already see that you are able to learn what is the level of mastery per topic, per subtopic. Now I'm going into the curriculum. For this, you need to firstly understand how the content is being structured in a school or in anywhere, right? So usually there is a subject and a grade, for example, primary 3 math, and then there would be topics under that. So topic 1 whole numbers, topic 2 fractions, for example. Under each topic there would be like maybe 2 to 3 subtopics. Under each topic there would be at least 1 to 3 learning objectives. Now we are able to go down to the learning objectives and the sub learning objectives to find out what's the level of proficiency of your child in those learning objectives. So that's a very very detailed analysis. Now again, you see the group icon and the training icon, same thing. You click on it, you are able to go in and see how are your individual students performing. You click on a training icon, you'll be sending the students for training in that particular learning objective. Now, is this possible if your teachers are using worksheets? Definitely it is possible. I mean, they can figure out what is the level of proficiency of all their kids in the learning objective, but they really need to be like not just really really smart, but really have a lot of time, because it's very very difficult. Yeah, they can sit down and map it all together, but it takes up a lot of time, a lot of their bandwidth. And that is what nuadu is trying to do. We're not trying to replace the teachers over here, we're trying to aid them, replace the mundane tasks with nuadu, so that they can spend their time um, really making sure that the learning happens within their students. And the last data that we have, and this will never be the last one, I believe that if give it a few months and you will see another 1 or 2 more tabs over here. Now Here, this is based on the Bloom's taxonomy, right? Remembering and understanding are the simplest questions that are available out there. And then there's applying and analyzing, which is kind of level two. And then there's evaluating and creating. So we are also able to tell you what's the level of proficiency of a child based on the different types of questions. Now, how do you really use it in the classroom? So while I'm teaching, of course, there are students, I've came across students who are like scoring 20 to 30% in their exams, right? So um, eh, based on that, I actually understand that, okay, they might not know their content. So it's not about giving them questions that are easy, medium, or difficult, or it's not about giving them a particular topic or subtopic, because maybe they understand percentage. They know, they might not know the easy questions, but they don't remember the formula, they don't understand the formula, right? So that way I'm able to really diagnose the problem as to what type of questions they're good at and weak at, and give them those type of questions, so that of course we can help them improve. If my child is scoring like 60-70% already, I wouldn't bother giving them remembering and understanding and applying questions. Most likely I'll be giving them either analyzing and evaluating, or creating the higher level, or the higher level questions. So that's what you would see under the progress tab. Is very, very comprehensive. You can go ahead and play around with it, and yeah, thank you. All right, we've got a bit more to go. So right now I'll go into the knowledge base. Now this is basically like the library for in within nuadu. Yeah, you're able to add all kinds of resources, whether it's PDF, Word, PowerPoint, videos, YouTube links, SCORM packages, HTML5 simulations. Anything that you need as a resource can be added into here, and it will be tagged to a particular topic and subtopic, right? It is essential that is done that way. So we actually force the teachers to actually do that. So as if you can see right now, I'm adding a resource. I'll go into math. Now the system forces me to choose where is it going, right? Usually, again, this section here is not being is you will not see it, because it's just not there. Here it's what grade it is, what chapter is going to, what subchapter is going to, and then you go next. Now it's, of course, it's tedious, but it is important. If not, you're just taking a library book and putting it into the library without tagging it, so you will never find it, right? Now you're able to add a file from your disk, if you have Office 365 account with your PowerPoint and everything, or you can add a link and you name and describe it, and it will be added into the whole knowledge base over here. Yeah, so this is what the knowledge base is about. When you are looking through it, you can filter, and you can get anything you want based on how it was tagged. Your students have access to this knowledge base, so basically they can also get the content that you put up very, very quickly based on however you filter it over here. So that's about the knowledge base. We'll be now going into the lessons tab over here. So the lessons is where everything is kind of pieced together. The quizzes that you have created, the knowledge-based resources that you have, and it can be done very, very nicely, in the sense that you can create an entire lesson plan for your students to follow. So for example, for me, right, what I like to do is I like to give my students a pre-quiz, then a video, then a post-quiz, then make them read some notes, and then three assignments in order of difficulty: easy, medium, and difficult. So right now what we have is a linear journey where you have to go from the first step to the last step, and every student has to follow that path. That is nice, because by the time the student reaches the last step, you know that they have had enough practice to actually complete it. But I also want to reward my students for kind of doing well in their assignments, and maybe having knowledge about of the topic beforehand even. Yeah, I kind of use this analogy a lot. It's like you at work, right? And your office hours are maybe 8 a.m. At 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. If your boss tells you that you have to leave only at 6 p.m., there's no way you can leave earlier. Psychologically, you are being told not to be effective, because you, even if you can finish your work at 4 p.m., you will drag it till 6 p.m., because there's no point being effective. But suddenly, if your boss tells you, okay, well, the moment you finish your work you can leave, right now you will be a lot more effective. Similarly, for the students, they have got no reason to score like 10 upon 10 in their assignments if they have to go through the whole thing, unless of course you are going to give them like credits or soccer ball or something like that, right? So what we are doing right now under the lessons tab is that it's more of a rule based thing. So you are able to add rules. For example, uh, in the first assignment, if you score more than 80%, you have the option to skip assignment 2 and go on to assignment 3. And if you score more than 60%, you're done, right? So for just that itself, you realize that if a student scores more than 80% and then scores more than 60% in assignment 3, they skip assignment 2. So now that itself is a reason to perform well in the assignments. We don't need to give them anything else. That is the reason. I mean, they would love it, right? And for students who have to go through, I mean, who don't score more than 80% in assignment 1, they have to do assignment 2. Is that a punishment? No, that's extra practice because you need it, right? Because you're not, maybe you're just not very good at this topic, so you need the extra practice. So go ahead and do that, right? And moreover, it's more personalized that way. So if the student is really good at it, why make them do it again? Or if the student is really bad at it, you want to know. So we will be adding one rule where, you tell the system, okay, if the student is performed this twice and still gets it lower than 60%, I want to be notified. So you know when a student is doing well or doing badly. That will all be available under the lessons tab, where it's again the flow of a student for a particular lesson. Now, how I use it in my classroom is I actually have the lesson flow for all the topics, and I just give it to my students, and let them study it independently. And I just sit back and watch the data, and then provide the help wherever is needed. Right? If the students are actually doing well, I just go in and just nudge them a bit to do even better. But it frees up my time to give me the time for the students who are not doing too well, the ones who are at the bottom of the class, the back benches. Those are the students who need most of my help. And right now with this function, I'm now able to do that. So that's the lesson step. All right, so we're nearly done over here right now. So I now want to go into the exercises tab, where this is again, exercises are the questions in is the same as the questions in nuadu. Here you are able to add your own exercise. Of course, I'm not going to go through this process right now, but as you can see that you will be asked, where is this question going? Yeah. And it's very important that you go through this whole process. Yeah, so you can add your own exercise, and you can also add it in excel form, where we will teach you, of course, we will teach the teachers how to do this. Now, what I want to show you here is the different types of exercises. You go in here, exercise tab, and you see the different types of exercises that are available, right? This is a single choice where there's one correct answer. This is multiple choice, more than one correct answers. Matching singular, matching multiple. True, false. Open is where you have all the mathematical formulas and everything. Writing. This is functions, I mean graphs and stuff. This is notebook. Again, this one is you are just taking notes. This is chemical structural formulas, chemical reaction. Fill in the gaps like close passage and fill in the blanks kind of question. This is stages. That means like you have one question with one text or one picture, and then part A, part B, part C, part D, right? So there's question with stages, and then these are tables where you, of course, you have to fill in the tables. Right? These are the type of exercises that are available right now, and we are also working on more exercises to give you a more comprehensive overview of the whole different types of questions. So in these exercises, you can go ahead and try and solve some of the questions. So to get a hang of the questions itself. So you see here, this is a variant. This is variant 1 out of 3, and this is the table form. So this is an open question, right? Wait for it to load, and I'm still waiting. Hold on. Yeah, okay, so now when you click on it, you will see all these formulas pop up, right? So even though this is supposed to be a number, this is something that we're actually working on to change it. But yeah, you look at the different types of formulas that are available. We can really write any formula, and you can do it very quickly. Yeah, and if more functions are needed, we can add that into the system. So that is the exercise step, and that in a general overview is everything about nuadu. There is also a help function over here. So there is a 24/7 help desk with regards to technical support and not academic support, of course. If the school wants, we are able to connect the students to the teachers, but that's of course if the school wants, because then one teacher will be handling like 100 plus students. The teacher will most likely be bombarded with questions. So yeah, that in totality is what nuadu is about, and we're done here. Thank you. Bye bye.